Yo, what's up, people? I'm your host, Jay Will, and I would like to welcome you to Inspire God's People, where we balance faith and business to guide you to your purpose. This is episode 250. Wait, then hurry up. How procrastination stops progress. That's right. We're going to kick it a little bit about this tricky idea of procrastination and how I feel like procrastination actually kind of presents itself as something good, but then ends up being something really bad, and it's killing a lot of our dreams, stopping a lot of our progress, whether it's in business, in your job, whether it's in your faith. Like procrastination is one of those things that most of us can relate to, because if you like me, then you've been guilty of procrastination at some point in your life, and maybe every other week, just like me. Um, so we're going to unpack a lot of what that looks like, and hopefully help somebody, like challenge you a little bit to think differently, to move forward. The goal of today's episode is to encourage and inspire you on your journey, not to wait, then hurry up. So first, let me unpack this idea of what do I mean by wait, then hurry up. I mean, it sounds a little obvious. I've noticed something in my life, right? Whether it's myself, whether it's friends, family, I've noticed that a lot of times we will have something, a date in the future that is on the calendar. And it's weird. Let's say it's 2 months away. When the date is first on the calendar, what you're doing, again, procrastination lies to us in how we think about it. The first thing you think is like, yo, I got a long time. Like, I got forever, 2 months. And so what you start doing is you start putting it off, because you thinking, oh, it don't take 2 months to prepare for that, or it doesn't take 2 months to get ready for that. When, yeah, it might not take a literal 2 months to plan and prepare and do that, but you might need 2 months to take the time that you need to prepare for it. You feel what I'm saying? So what's my point? What do? We wait, and then 1 month goes by, and you start, let's be real, you start feeling the heat a little bit. Like when it's a month left, you're like, ooh, I had 2 months. Like, I'm good though. Like, you know what? Next week, 3 weeks. You find yourself a week away from something, and now it's all this pressure. And here's what I noticed that we do. We get down to like the end. Let's say in this case, if you want to call the end the last 3 days. Now, all of a sudden, the last 3 days, it's a sense of urgency. You need everything to stop. You need everybody to get out of your way. Hey, y'all, come on, hurry up. Hey, let's get this done. This event is in 3 days, and we need this done and that done. And you're like, wait a minute. You had 2 months to prepare for this. And so procrastination ends up killing our progress. And here's the thing I hate about this the absolute most. I'm going to be real. What I hate about procrastination the most is there are times that we are successful when we procrastinate. Let's just keep it 100. Like, there are times that you procrastinate, right? And you wait to the end, and then you survived. It went well. And we mistaken that survival, right, for success. It's like, yo, you survived, but that's not what success looks like. And it would be like, imagine if you were lost, stranded in the woods, God forbid, for 24 hours. And all you had was some berry tree, right? Like some tree that produced some berries or whatever. And maybe for 24 hours, like you were able to, you survived off that. But let's be real, that you're not trying to do that again. Like, you don't want to have to do that again. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not sustainable. And so procrastination creeps up in our lives, causes us to put things off into the future, and then just make it happen. And we think that survival is success. So the first thing I want you to take away from today's episode is that survival is not success. Again, it might have been successful in that moment, but it's not sustainable success. Like, you can't allow yourself to get stuck in survival mode. And unfortunately, that's what procrastination does to so many of us. It allows us to be stuck in survival mode. I see this with people in their finances all the time. It's like, hey, you survived check to check 1 year. You survive with your mismanaged spending 1 year, and then you keep copying and pasting and doing it again. And before you know it, it's time to retire and you don't have money. Or, it's time for a vacation. You don't have money. It's time to do anything and you don't have the money. And the point there is not to make somebody feel bad about not having the money. It's about saying, okay, maybe I messed up because I've been there. Let me say I've been there. I have messed up financially so much throughout my life that eventually I got tired of it. I got tired of putting things off and procrastinating. And so when you get tired of procrastinating, what do? You plan. So, first thing, survival is not success. And so because survival is not success, here's the second thing we're going to talk about is the power of planning. So many of us are navigating life and we're not planning, right? We are just we winging it. And we really think that because we're winging it, like, and just barely surviving, that that's something that we should keep doing. But let me just introduce something else to you. This idea of planning is about taking the responsibility instead of putting it off to tomorrow, taking that responsibility on today and carrying some of that weight today to make tomorrow easier. See, we always think about making today easier. And I believe that is one of our biggest mistakes as it relates to the reason why we procrastinate is because we are so selfish that we're looking at the version of us today and we're saying, you know what? I don't care about the me 2 months from now. Forget homie. I'm about to give him some extra work. You know what? I'm giving him some extra bills because I care about the me today that want this pair of shoes that I shouldn't buy. I care about the me today that wants to eat out at a restaurant instead of, saving a little money and making some food at home if I need to. My point is, instead of thinking about the you today so much and so selfishly, what if we changed our minds to start planning for the future us to make things a little easier on them? Nah, nothing is easy. That's the other real big thing about this is we talked about last episode how success is harder than you think. And some of the reason that a lot of us are procrastinating is because we're actually waiting on stuff to get easier. We're thinking in our heads, you know what, I'm tired today. I don't feel like doing this today. So I'll just wait until tomorrow to get it done. I'll wait until next week to get it done. When the reality of it is, it's like, it's not going to be easier next week. It's not going to be easier tomorrow. So if we could shift our mind to understand if it's not easy today and it's not going to be easy tomorrow versus me pushing everything off on the Jermaine and Tomorrowland, why don't I do a little bit of work and prep and planning to position the future me to be successful? See, I believe that we should be looking at our lives and looking at the whole version of ourselves instead of selfishly looking at the version of ourselves living in today. And look, I'm so guilty of this. I'm so guilty of procrastination because, A, I don't feel like it. Sometimes procrastination feels legitimate. Like I'm tired or I'm genuinely busy and I don't have time for it. But again, if I look at the wholeness of myself, well, maybe I don't have to do everything today, but what can I do to position the me in tomorrow to be better off? All right, so procrastination, it's a weird word. You feel what I'm saying? Appreciate the love in the comments. And also at least one person that told me to shut up. God bless y'all. Like, I want to ask a question. What are you waiting for? Like, I feel like all of us should ask ourselves this question when we find ourselves procrastinating. What are we waiting for? Because procrastination, literally the root of the word, means to put off into tomorrow. So when you really think about this idea of putting something off into tomorrow, my question is, what do you think is what's going to happen tomorrow that didn't happen today? Because I'll be real with you. Like, when you work hard, like, again, this is why success isn't easy. Like I work really hard in my corporate job and my life in general. I've grown to become a hard worker. And I could tell you when you work hard, like every day is challenging. It's not no easier today than it's gonna be tomorrow. And so the sooner that we realize that, then we could stop putting things off on tomorrow. Cause then you realize, like, hey, when you put something off into tomorrow, when you get to tomorrow, it's you. You are putting more on you because you won't do something. You see how crazy that is? It's not like we putting stuff off into tomorrow and then someone else could come do it, which is still shady, by the way. That's still shady. I'm not telling you to do that. But what I am saying is that when you put something off into tomorrow, it's you that has to deal with it. And so, again, whether it's financially, whether it's in your faith, regardless of what it is, it's you. And so I'm learning more and more each day that I need to work hard. I need to progress. I need to do my part today so that the me in tomorrow don't have to do everything. You feel what I'm saying? Appreciate the love. Like, I don't want the me in tomorrow to have to do it all, bro. Like, he got to do everything? All right, cool. Here's the other crazy thing about procrastination. I used to think procrastination was about time, right? I thought it was like, you're wasting time. And it's not really a matter of time. Now, time is wasted, don't get me wrong. But the more you study and look at procrastination, just look it up yourself, quick Google search, you realize that procrastination is about emotion. It's actually an emotional problem, not a time issue. Let me see. I Googled something and it said it's an emotional coping mechanism to avoid negative feelings like anxiety, insecurity, or fear of failure. That makes a lot of sense to me. You're not procrastinating today because you don't have time to do something. You're procrastinating because you're afraid of the result. You're fearful that if you take that step today, that the result is not going to be in your favor. And what happens is you're not going to be able to move forward until you can get over the fact that instead of fear, I need to have faith. I need to have faith that whatever God is calling me to do, whatever I'm working towards, that this work is not in vain. I love in the Bible when it says work is unto the Lord. Now that's tough. That was tough for me, like for years. But what I've come to learn is that, when I work and put in effort as unto the Lord, it's also the Lord who receives that work, sees that work, and then rewards that work. See, when we working as unto ourselves selfishly, and God forbid, working the work of the enemy of the world, we don't realize that we're putting our efforts into the hands of the enemy versus working as unto the Lord is like putting, like, hey, I'm going to do this work, God. And are you do with it what you take it. You take this effort and produce the results you want. You also start thinking, I only want the results you want. So if I'm doing a podcast, I'm working as unto the Lord. I'm not working as unto the world. It's not about numbers. It's not about going viral. It's about content. It's about substance. So if I create this substance and give it to the Lord, then my prayer is that it meets people that he wants it to meet. That it connects with people, and maybe God is dealing with you in your life for something, right? And this is why I believe sometimes, I know it happened to me all the time, you go to church or you hear a word and you like, does this pastor like know me? Like, why does it feel like this pastor is talking to me? Well, it's because if that pastor is preaching as unto the Lord and working as unto the Lord and putting it in God's hands, then what's happening is God is taking that word and bringing it to you. And like, yep, you need to hear this. I'm going to use this person over here that's doing what pleases me, what I asked them to do. And you've been praying and you've been seeking. Yeah, let me get that to you. And it's a beautiful thing when it all comes together, because in that instance, neither the preacher or the person that's hearing the word, neither of them really made this happen. They were just obedient to where God called them to be. And so procrastination will have you to put off today until tomorrow. And a lot of times we don't even realize we're putting off our blessing. We're putting off our freedom. We're putting off receiving the word that the Lord has for us. It's not about time, it's about emotion. Got to deal with that. Lack of planning equals lack of success. What do I mean by that? Look, for me, my personal core values that I always share in the business world are, people, preparation, success. People, preparation, performance. I always say that I lead with people in mind. If whatever you're doing doesn't add value to human beings and you don't see people as people on the other side, then to me, it's no point in doing it. All right. It's no point in doing things that are not going to help people. And then preparation is big for me, because I believe, like, if I have a big meeting coming up, or me and my team have a big meeting coming up, I believe that the more prepared you are, you've already walked through this meeting, you walk through the content, you show up in that meeting as an expert. You show up in that meeting as a valuable voice to the other people that you're presenting to. And that shows. And then if you lead with people in mind, and if you lead with preparation, then you will perform. Those are my personal core values. People, preparation, performance. In the business world, that's what I share. And I could tell you, like, right now, I have a big meeting coming up at the end of May, right? Big meeting with my team coming up. And I started 2 weeks ago. I started having these planning progress checkpoints on my calendar with my team. So we touch base 2 weeks ago. We touch base, last week. We're going to touch base in 2 weeks. What's the point? The point is, we know the meetings at the end of May. My message to the team is, like, don't wait until May to start planning for a meeting that you know is coming up. You put in the work now. You start, again, don't put off to tomorrow, your tomorrow self, and think it's going to get easier tomorrow, or you're going to have more time tomorrow. We're going to be just as busy. There's going to be just as many things going on. Start doing that today. And my goal is, when we get to that meeting in the end of May, that our partners that we're meeting with are going to see the value that we're bringing to the table. And when they see what we bring to the table, I'm hoping that makes them want to partner even closer, even more, that they even want to expand partnerships, right? That's the goal. We don't want to procrastinate, because procrastination equals a lack of success, because procrastination will have us showing up to a meeting that we haven't prepared for, haven't put in the effort. We wait, then hurry up. Wait until 2 weeks left in May, and then try to hurry up and do everything. And guess what? You get to the meeting and you're fumbling all over yourself. You can't speak intelligently about the business because you haven't looked at it. You haven't learned it. What am I trying to say? Whether it's with your money, whether it's in your faith, whatever it is, don't procrastinate, prepare. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. And, before I get out of here, what up? Much love in the comments. See you, Mike Anderson fan. What up? Kilola. Appreciate y'all. One of the last things I want to share is, overthinking is the enemy. Now, I got to be honest with y'all. I'm very guilty of this, like extremely guilty. I think being a deep thinker can be a huge value. Being an in-depth thinker, a detailed thinker, opens a lot of doors at times. But I can't tell you how many times that gets in my way, because I think so much. And a lot of times, overthinking, the reason it's the enemy is because you get to a point where you're thinking when you should be working. You're thinking when you should be doing. And part of, I know what I'm guilty of, is I'm trying to play out all the scenarios in my head, all the possibilities of what could happen. Well, why? Because procrastination is emotional. fear of failure, right? You're trying to think about things. Is this going to really work? Is this the right thing? And some of it is like, look, it's coming from a good place. I want to make a good decision. But what I've learned is that you have to empower yourself to act. If you don't act, there will be no response. There will be no result. You can only get a result from an input. A result is a result of something, right? So a lot of us, we want results. We want more. We want blessings, whatever, fill in the blank, because it's all different for all of us what we want in this life. But we want so much, and yet we're not acting. We're not doing. And what I'm learning is when you're spending that time overthinking, a lot of times what you're doing is selling yourself on the reason why you shouldn't be doing what you know you already should be doing. Procrastination. So the longer you wait, the more you doubt. Now, don't mix up procrastination with patience, because I'm not saying that we should be hasty and that we shouldn't be patient in our decisions and our thinking and shouldn't seek the Lord. But sometimes it's a thin line between patience and procrastination. And most times we know when we're procrastinating, right? Because patience is a little more centered. It's a little more focused. Procrastination is like, I ain't even doing nothing. You could be patient while you work. So you could be working towards something. Let's just say if you're looking for a job and you put your resume together and you get your LinkedIn profile together, you took a new picture, you're working, you haven't gotten a job, you applied 3 places, right? You did an interview, didn't get it. You're patiently waiting for the job opportunity to open up, but you're not procrastinating. See, procrastination is different. Procrastination is, you know what? I'm gonna redo my resume tomorrow. Then get to tomorrow. You know what? All right, I can't do it today. I'm going to take a new picture and I'm going to do a LinkedIn profile. I'm going to do it next week and then get to next week. Let me tell y'all something. Something I can't stand that people do is, let's say if I run into you today and you say, hey man, I'm starting a new business, right? It's like, okay, great. We talk about it. You're going to start a new business. A month go by. I run into you again. Man, I'm going to start that business. Yeah, I'm over it. Don't want to talk to you about it anymore. I can't stand when people are constantly talking about what they're going to do, and yet time goes by and I see you again and you've done nothing towards it. I'm just being real with y'all. That is probably one of the most frustrating things for me to deal with, is people who talk and don't act. Talking without action is nothing. Look, me talking to you about, hey, I'm gonna work really hard and I'm gonna grow this business. I don't like empty promises in that way. I could tell you, I remember last year I was telling my boss, we have 101s every week, and I was telling my boss, I'm like, look, we're gonna hit plan, we're gonna hit the number. And in the business I work in, it is very much a what have you done for me lately business. I'll give you an example. We had a really strong Q1 on my team. We delivered, had some strong action. And guess what? The next week, my boss was hitting me up like, hey, bro, like what's going on? The business is here or there. And it's like, yeah. Didn't we just celebrate last week having a good quarter? And now you're talking to me about a bad week when we had a good quarter? That's the business I'm in. It's daily, it's weekly. It's a lot of high pressure. But I was telling my boss all last year, we're going to hit plan. And he couldn't see it. I know he couldn't see it. I know you couldn't see it. But it's all good. Because I was planning not just in the moment, but I was planning for the whole year. So what I mean by that is when I'm planning and forecasting for my team, I already know what we have coming in the summer. I already know where we have our spikes, and I know where we have some of our challenges. What happens in the organization, in the business, in the industry I'm in, is they really can't afford to be long-term sometimes. It is hyper-focused on the short term. So I have to deliver in the short term, but then sometimes in the short term where there's a miss, because I've done the work to forecast for the long term, I kept promising my boss we were going to hit plan. He couldn't believe it until we got there. Probably we got around the start of Q4 into Q3, and he started probably being like, oh, we going to mess around and hit plan. And guess what? We hit plan. And it was not easy to do. But my point is, yep, I find myself in that situation again right now. where there's a lot of pressure. I took on a new job at the beginning of the year, took on more responsibility and, a bigger business that I'm managing. And guess what? When you're managing, over $100 million of business, it is a lot of pressure because whatever happens good could be plus a million, but something going wrong could be minus a million. So you're dealing with a lot of money, dealing with a lot of revenue, and a huge piece of what the team needs to be successful at large. What's my point with all of this? With all of this responsibility comes the need to eliminate procrastination. And so for me, I'm hoping you could take away from today whatever it is in your life, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. No matter how small our jobs are, how large our jobs are, doesn't matter our titles. This applies to everybody in every area of life. There are things that you can do today to take a little bit of pressure off of tomorrow and to prepare and position yourself for a better opportunity and chance for success. Some of us have put off so much stuff that it's just piling up. And then what happens is when it piles up, then it becomes so overwhelming that you don't even know where to start. And look, if you like me, I've been there 100 times, like where I let stuff pile up. So I'm like, I don't even know how to get rid of this. Like, I don't even know how to start doing this work. Start today, man. Like, I just want to encourage you to start today. And it might be the smallest step. Here's the thing. Don't underestimate the impact or the long-term value of just taking your first step. Sometimes the first step seems so meaningless. Or let me say it this way. It might be your 100th step, but you took the 99th step 3 months ago. So you might have already went 99 steps. And you're like, this ain't my first step though, bro. I've done this before. And it's like, but it's just that it's your first step in a while. I know what that feels like. I go through this all the time when it comes to running. I hate running. I done said it on this show. I hate running. But I do try to run at least, probably probably on average 7 miles a week. I don't know what I run. I don't know because sometimes I don't do it. And sometimes that's why it's on average. Sometimes I run more than 7. Sometimes I run. Some days I wake up, it's raining outside. I'm tired. I travel. It's all kind of reasons, right? And I have this situation where sometimes I'm doing good and sometimes I'm doing bad. And I take a lot of steps forward and then I mess up for 2 weeks, don't eat right or whatever. And I feel like I'm starting over. And I know a lot of us feel like that sometimes, but you should still take that next step. Because that's the lie that procrastination tells us. Start the diet tomorrow. Do right tomorrow. What if I just did one right thing today? I'm going to be honest with y'all. This podcast is my step. This episode is my step today. Why? Because look, the reality of it is I could give you all the excuses. I've been busy. I travel every week. This summer is just, I'm gone. It's always... Last week, I was in Atlanta for a few days. The week before that, it was Charlotte. The week before that, it was Texas. Next week is somewhere else. The week after that is somewhere else. So that's a legitimate reason not to be able to do a podcast every single week or stay. But you know what? I'm like, or you could just take the step, bro. Do the episode that you woke up this morning and had the title. I did. This is true story. I'm telling y'all, I'm just being vulnerable, telling the truth. I'm vulnerable all the time on this show if you rock with it. Like I woke up today and it was like, wait, then hurry up. It just hit me. And it was like, I was thinking about some things at work. I was thinking about some other things and experiences I've had in finance. I'm like, why do we wait, then hurry up? And it was like, okay, I don't feel like doing this today, but here I am. I'm taking a step to hopefully invite you to take your step. And whatever your step is, no matter how small it is, it might be bigger than this is a small step. Episode 250. We just took a small step. But take that step with me, bro. Sis, take that step. And let's see what that looked like in our lives. And maybe, just maybe, this small step is a seed. And seeds grow into trees. They grow into things much bigger. Now, you ever notice like whatever a seed produces is always bigger than the seed itself. I never seen a seed produce something the size of a seed. Woo. Huh? Huh? Is it time to stop? Is that a bar? Seeds never produce something the size of themselves. They always produce something bigger, but the problem is we can't see the value in planting the seed because we're looking at the seed and we're limiting the potential of the seed to the size of the seed versus understanding it's what's in it. And it's when it gets planted in good ground and when it gets watered and when it gets sunlight and harvest. It's like there's a process that takes place that brings value to the seed, but yet go water nothing, plant nothing, water it, put sunshine on it, and it ain't gonna produce nothing until you put a seed there. So instead of looking at the seed for what it is today and how small it is, and it's just a small step, and I mean, we've done 249 episodes. Do I need to do another one? Is it any point? Like, am I done? Should I wrap it up? Lights, camera, action, or the end? Whatever. That's the opposite. That's actually the opposite. Lights, camera, action is the start of something. What are you talking about? What's my point? Or just take the step and see what happens. So this was my step today. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying, checking out the show. Appreciate the love. Please do like, share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We post shorts most days of the week. I got to stop procrastinating. I got shorts. Some days I'm like, bro, I'm too busy. I can't think about this. But I'm taking my step today. What's your step, fam? Who gonna take a step with me? Somebody step with me. I want to see you win. I want to see you have success. I want to see you grow. Shout out to the people that has hit me up. A couple people emailed me. Much love to y'all. I'm going to respond. Again, we talking about procrastination. Sometimes I'm busy. I see it. Then I forget. I don't got my mind. I can't put. Look, success is not easy. I want to say this before I go because it's so real. One of the things that, you know, I find myself struggling through is I've been blessed to reach some of my business goals and have some really good success in business, right? And it's weird how things are because as I've had that success, to whom much is given, much is required, that success has come with a huge responsibility, which means I'm giving more of myself to business and my team and producing than I've ever had to give because I'm also getting more than I've ever gotten. And so it's a weird thing where, all right, now because I'm giving a new amount, there's a new amount of input, a new amount of effort, new amount of travel and time and energy that is like, oh, wow, things like this, like my podcast, my music, like I'm creating new music. Like I'm 3-4 songs into a new project. I'm like, when is this going to come out? 2030? Because I used to be able to put out a project every year. But now that the blessings has elevated, so does my capacity have to elevate. My agency trait has to increase. And I feel like I have a fairly high agency trait. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But what's my point? My point is, don't lie to yourself and think success is easy. Success comes with a lot of hurdles. And success in one area doesn't mean success in every area, right? And so sometimes you're like, man, I'm killing it over here. I'm doing what I'm doing. This is excelling. But like, this is causing this to lack. And how do I balance this with this? And which one is more important? And how do I those are the things that I struggle with. You know what I'm saying? I have all kind of struggles. Like I'm just the most normal struggling human being that there is on earth. But through those struggles, right? It's not that God isn't blessing and God isn't good. And there's a balance of gratefulness of like, man, God, you let me reach these goals. You allow me to lead these people over here. You entrust me to be in this position. That's a blessing. I'm just a kid from 7 Mile. Like I'm just a kid from the east side of Detroit that, you know, in many ways was overlooked, in many ways maybe dismissed to being a silly kid, whatever it may be. I had a lot of people believe in me, so I'm not painting some victim story. But my point is, like, sometimes I'm amazed at where God has allowed me to be. You feel me? And it's like, okay, but I want to make sure I do right by what he's given me. And so when you get your success, just know success don't solve all problems. Sometimes success create new problems. There's times that I've reached success and I'm like, bro, this is a whole new problem. You feel what I'm saying? Peace from Scotland. Yo, Jamie Stewart, thank you so much from Scotland. Thanks for listening and rocking with the show. I appreciate you. But sometimes success is like, you think it's going to solve everything. Let me just tell you, if you go from having no money at all, right, to just a little money, little money. Oh, your little money looks like a lot of money to the people that also didn't have no money. Now, what do? What do you give? When do you say no? Like success creates all these new problems. Again, you become successful in one area of your life. Let's say you're successful in ministry, but then like, oh my gosh, like I'm traveling and I'm doing all this stuff. And let's call it music in ministry, right? You're traveling, doing music and all this. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm on the road all the time. I'm never home. My wife isn't happy. My kids aren't happy. Whatever it is in your life where you like, man, I have all this success in music. I always wanted this success, but it's created new problems in my life. I just want to drive home the point that nothing is easy. So stop procrastinating because you're lying to yourself saying, I'm going to do it when it gets easier. No, 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 no. That ain't how it works, fam. This ain't easy at all. It's a challenge to continue to grow. It's a challenge to continue to look in the mirror. It's a challenge to even be like, oh man, I'm having success over here. Because in your flesh, you want to be like, yeah, I'm successful. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here doing it. And some people do. If you walk in the flesh, that's how you talk. But if you don't walk in the flesh, you don't talk like that. When you walk in the fear of the Lord and you know that he's the one open the doors and put you there, it's like, oh, okay, man, thank you, God, for doing this. But it's like, oh, I'm trying to be aware. Like, am I lacking over here? More responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. So hopefully this has encouraged and inspired you today. Again, please do like, share, subscribe. Share this video with somebody that need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Inspire God's People. Stop playing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Stop playing. Subscribe to the show, bro. I appreciate y'all in the comment section. I hope that this connects in a way that allows you to take your small step, whatever that is. I'm praying that the step you take in your life is prosperous and pleasing unto the Lord. And I just want to encourage y'all, man, we have to really be tapped into the word of God. There's so much division in the world. There's so much confusion in the world, but there is peace and clarity in the word of God. I genuinely believe there's peace and clarity as we seek the will of the Lord for our lives. And I know that ain't always easy, but it's always progressive. Thank y'all so much, man. Hopefully y'all have an amazing day. I got to get out of here. This was just my first small step to hopefully something greater. Yo, have an amazing, amazing,